Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this might be your first time here, welcome and welcome back. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and clicking to watch this video. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell to be notified every time that we post new videos in our YouTube channel. Here it's all about spreading love to one another, and we do not encourage negative energy because we are here to help one another grow from one step to another. Now today's video is a very interesting one. I want us to have a sit-down video together and just share different experiences and different occurrences that occurred during the pandemic, and that is 20 lessons that we have learned in the year 2020 to date. Let's talk about that in this video. And by the way, before we continue, I want to wish every Kenyan or every African or anyone in the world who is currently battling with common cold. Like right now in my country, Kenya, Nairobi, many people are suffering from common cold, and it's not something new or it's not something strange to people. People nowadays find it normal. Almost everyone, there's an outbreak of common cold, common flu. So people are experiencing running noses, chest pains, loss of appetite. Well, it could be COVID, but nowadays who cares about COVID or not? COVID came, it attacked our families, it killed our loved ones, it made us jobless, it messed up the economy, and today as we speak, many things are not the way they used to be, and that is why we want to do this video. Let's start this video right away. So the first lesson that we learned is that your health is indeed your wealth. Let me tell you, when COVID came, it affected our health. The health of many people were terribly affected, and when their health were affected, you could not just sit down in your house and cross your legs and I will get better. No, many people went into their pockets and withdrew all the money that they had to ensure that their health is restored and is doing good again. When money in their pockets and the one they kept in their houses were over, they broke those saving accounts to continue taking money to ensure they can pay for life support, ICU machines and oxygens in hospitals, to buy for medication and maybe food to sustain you and keep your health stable. That is when many people realize that truly, health is your wealth. When your health is not good, you might not appreciate the wealth that you have, because you will spend all your wealth to ensure your health is stable once again. So do what you have to do to protect the health that you have, so that you preserve the wealth that you have, that you may not die poor. The second lesson we learned is that learn to love yourself. Now, despite the many challenges that came with COVID and what, we had many people lose their jobs, lose their wealth, lose their weight, lose their income, lose their surrounding, their homes. Many people lost so much. But remember, there were so many other several people who could not manage to survive after losing all these things. And that is why they went knocking and asking for help from other people. And you still welcomed them. And by you welcoming them and by you helping them, by you sharing the little that you had with them, meant a lot. That which you take for granted, that you do not want to appreciate, somebody else, you saw how they appreciated it and they took value in it. You understand? You who threw food every now and then, when people came to you asking for help, they really appreciated anything that you gave them. And that meant a lot. Learn to love yourself. You are so much better than many people. The little that you have is a huge thing to somebody else out there. Learn to love yourself. Another thing that we learned was the art of sanitizing. Personally, in my whole entire life, I'd never sanitized. Yes, that is the truth. I started sanitizing when COVID came in, and sanitizers became our personal friends. There were some institutions that you could not be allowed in without a sanitizer or without you sanitizing. You couldn't access some of the services, such as in places such as supermarkets, hospitals, schools. You had to have a sanitizer, or you had to sanitize in the particular stations that were placed for people to sanitize. I first used a hand sanitizer at my age when I was past over 20 years old. It looks funny, it sounds funny, but sanitizers became our best friends. Another thing that I learned in the year 2020, 2021 was to admire the little things that are around us. These little things could be anything. They could be maybe a little flower beside your window, or maybe a small bird on that electric wire or aerial outside your door. There are so many things that I learned to appreciate. Almost everything. By the way, I always say, I grew up without anything, and that is why I appreciate everything. Learn to appreciate almost everything. For the fact that we stayed much longer in our houses than in other places during the pandemic, I learned to appreciate every little thing that I came across, every little thing that I had, be it a cloth, be it a short. I had an opportunity to dress in almost all my clothes. You know, when I was in the house, there were those particular clothes that I was not wearing, but for the fact that I had to stay indoors for the longest time possible, I had to dig deep. I found some good shorts, I found some good t-shirts. I made use of them. I appreciated everything that I ever bought with money, or something that somebody gave me out of sacrifice and maybe out of generosity. Another lesson that I learned was count your blessings. Hey, there is so much no value in counting the blessings that you have. Some of you don't know they are blessed. Let me remind you, the fact that you had a house during this pandemic period, that was a blessing. The fact that you could afford to eat even a single meal in a day, that was a blessing. The fact that you could afford to buy a mask, sanitizer, or even drink water, that was a blessing. The fact that you never fell sick during this pandemic, that was a blessing. So almost everything that we have around our lives was a blessing, and you need to start appreciating each and every one of them. Many people lost them. Some people lost jobs. You retained yours. Some people, their income were cut. Maybe yours was just reduced a little. Some people never had food. You had plenty to eat in your fridge, in your kitchen, and almost everywhere. You had it enough. So you see, count your blessings. Name them one by one, and it would surprise you what the Lord was doing in your life. Another thing that we learned in the year 2020 and 2021 was save money. Save. Like, who knew that when the pandemic struck, that you will lose your job, you will lose your source of income, that you will go broke, you will not have money to treat yourself? Who knew? No one. This was something that came and it wasn't prepared for. For example, in my country, Kenya here, when the pandemic struck, we were rendered jobless. We were sent home on a lockdown for 3 months. No getting out to go to work, no doing many other stuff. By 6 p.m., there was a curfew that was set. No one was supposed to be outside their houses, and life became so difficult. That was the time that we were starting to appreciate the value of saving money for emergencies, for health, and for many other things. it was so sad for people who never had any savings, especially those people who depend on hand-to-mouth jobs where you make money and you spend it immediately, and tomorrow you have to wake up again and make the money. If you don't wake up, if you don't go to work, if you don't do anything to survive, then you won't make it. You won't even survive on that day. So we learned that saving is very important. And today I'm also telling you saving is very important. Even if you can save 2 bob or any amount that you can save, saving has no limit. Save that which you have. Whether you want to save it for an investment, whether you want to save it for medical attention, whether you want to save it for emergencies, just save. Save when you can. Another thing I learned is that don't take anything for granted. Anything. Do not take anything for granted. When you are eating and you get satisfied, you might have a thought of throwing that food in your dustbin, not knowing that that leftover can be kept very well and very clean to help you in the next meal when you feel the urge to eat. Appreciate everything. Don't take anything for granted. Another lesson I also learned in this 2020 and 2021 is that learn to be patient. Patience is a virtue in the Bible. Let me tell you something. People are going through difficult situations, me not left out. And I borrowed help from several people. Some of them told me, wait, we see what we can do. Because I'm a believer, and because I know getting help from someone is not easy, I had to wait, as they told me. And in the process of waiting, I learned a lot. I just understood that life is not how we expect it. Sometimes you can go through hell. And we might assume that if we ask some particular people for help, they will help us instantly, but it's not the case. My friend, these people had to look for that money to share the little that they had with us. People had to look for food so that they can share with us. And so when somebody told you, wait, you had to wait. Learn to be patient. You could be patient because when help came, it came at a time when most of us were at the age of giving up. We were at the age of losing it. And when help came, it came at the right time. Because we say God's time is always the best. So if you don't have patience, you'll start throwing stones and blaming people that they don't want to help you, that nobody loves you, that no one cares about you, simply because you don't have patience. But when you have patience, you appreciate waiting, you will come to understand what I'm telling you today. Another lesson I learned was to put your mental health first. Many people don't care about their mental health. That is the truth. You don't want to engage in activities that would make you active and actually prosperous and successful. Physically, the pandemic was hurting us. But mentally, the pandemic was doing what? Ruining us. So 2020 was the year that we learned how important our mental health was to us. Or it was, or it is. Whether it was at home or at work, everyone started putting their mental health first. Honestly. That was when companies laid out people. People lost their jobs. People lost their incomes. So they had to sit home to start focusing on their mental health, leave alone the physical one. This is because mental health is very important. When you are mentally stable, you will think upright. You will see the value of helping other people. You will see the value of investing in yourself and those around you. But when you're not stable up here, you get stressed, you get depressed, you are out of order, you can't think straight, you cannot do anything normally, like a normal person should. So mental health is something that you should appreciate, and you should make it come first. It should be your priority. Another thing that I learned is that our homes are so big there's need to invest in your home. There was great need to make your house a home, because these homes, at that time when life was so difficult, they were miracles to us. Some turned their houses into gym because you could not just sleep 24/7. At one point, you'd had to wake up, make yourself constructive, whether you had a big house or a small house, especially during the lockdown, where you were not allowed to walk out, or you're not allowed to be out in particular times or hours because of the curfews. People created gyms in their houses. People made their homes creative centers. Content creators appreciated staying indoors. People would sit in their houses, do makeups and what, and post online for people to watch. Other people actually made their offices in their homes. And it was so good. It felt so kind. And that is why I always tell my friends, make your house a home, so that when life throws stones at you out there, when it becomes difficult for you, when you meet people who break your heart out there, when you come back to your house, you feel a home, you feel loved. You touch your bed and you feel the warmth. You touch your plates and you feel satisfied. You go to your toilet and you feel so good, so relaxed, because you have made your house your home. Let the sun burn you out there. Let the rain fall on you out there. Let people insult you. Let people abuse you. But when you walk into your house, may you feel the love that it comes with. It doesn't come for free. You have to create it. Clean your house. Buy the things that you need to make your life comfortable. Eat well while in your house. Take away the stress that you got out there while you walk into your house, because your house is the home, and the home is where you feel loved. Another lesson I learned is that don't eat when you're bored. Yes, don't eat when you're bored. Like, you're just sitting down, bored, you're just there, and then you feel like, I have some apples in the fridge, let me go eat, or I have some pizza, or I have some snacks in the fridge. No, you will gain a lot of weight, and after gaining a lot of weight, it will be very harmful and dangerous to your own human health. Imagine not being able to run during violence or something, that maybe while people are getting attacked because of your weight, you're so obese. No, don't eat when you're bored. It will affect you and it will make you poor. You will spend so much money buying food because you're addicted to eating. Another thing I also learned is that meditation is powerful. Sometimes it's just good to sit down, relax quietly, and reason with yourself. Have a meeting with yourself. Talk to yourself. Meditation helps a lot in dealing with stress, anxiety, as well as depression. COVID-19 brought a lot of stress and depression. Many people, when they couldn't afford food, they couldn't do many things, they got stressed up and later they got depressed, and many people died. Many people died at a time when they could prolong their life simply because of stress. They stopped loving themselves and started hating life and hating themselves because they couldn't pay for those bills that they always paid for when they were their lives were on the right line. So another thing that I learned is that we can survive without so many other things, such as shopping, online shopping, such as luxuries, such as the internet, TVs, radios. Yes, we could survive without them. So there was no need for you to break the bank to pay for internet, or to pay for Netflix, or to pay for your TV subscription, or for you to pay to buy that expensive watch or maybe laptop and what, because it was not a priority. We survived without them. So meaning there's no need to suffer, to be like somebody else simply because you feel like it's your right to have some luxurious lives. This was a time when people are not even going for swimming. People were just seated in their houses. Did you die because you never swam? Whoa. We survived. Another lesson that we learned was that multitasking is very important. Imagine, me, I learned a lot because this was a time when I was trying to sleep. At the same time, I was trying to browse. At the same time, I was trying to cook some food. At the same time, I was trying to attend a Zoom meeting to learn on the dangers of COVID and how to be careful and how to protect one another. At the same time, we were also attending meetings in schools and what, all at the same time. So multitasking is very important. It will help you save a lot of time and resources. Something else that I learned is that learn to appreciate those around you, including your house helps. This was a time when house helps had a lot of chores because everybody was home. Children, fathers, mothers, everyone was home. The house would get dirty so fast and cleaning was becoming so hectic and difficult. And these people that we call house managers, house helps, house boys, I've worked as a houseboy, and so I know what it feels like to have one in your house. These people worked tirelessly to ensure the house was so clean, spotlessly clean. They worked very hard to ensure that the house had food. Food was cooked and served at the right time. They ensured that the clothes we wore, the handkerchiefs, the masks, the sanitizers were working well, and they were serving each and every person in the house. Appreciate that house help you have. If you never lived well with them, you would know the pain it feels to have not a house help in your house, because these people played a very big role. When you had to work in the house from home, these people would ensure that your children are not making noise for you. They would ensure that you have enough food in your house. They provided, appreciating the value of everyone in your house and those around you. Another lesson I learned was that adversity creates opportunity. Yes. Imagine at this time, I saw several people think creatively. This was the time many businesses were established. People started selling gloves, these hand gloves. I didn't even know the importance. Okay, I knew, but it is a joke. That was the time I never knew that anybody could wear a glove. I thought gloves were meant for doctors. I never knew that at one point masks, face masks, will be important, because we thought those were things that were specially created for surgeons. I didn't know that one day I will sanitize my hands with a sanitizer, because these things were so expensive. But when COVID came, they became so cheap, and we even despised them because we could just walk out of your door and find them. Anyone was selling them at throwaway prices. Food commodities became very expensive at this time because they were not easily accessible. Everyone was fighting to buy a lemon, ginger, garlic until they became scarce. And at that time, people who were doing 8 to 5 jobs, who were laid out, thought this was an opportunity for them to think, and they started selling these things. They started selling food. They created jobs. Many jobs were created during the pandemic, which was very creative. Adversity created opportunities. Another lesson that I learned was that live life to the fullest, because no one knows when their life shall be taken away from them. Do you know how many million people died during the pandemic? Today you're laughing with someone, tomorrow you're given a phone call that, do you know person A or person B just died mysteriously because of a heart failure, or because they couldn't breathe, or because they couldn't afford to buy oxygen. And you're busy there trying to deny yourself several things that can make your life comfortable. Bro, enjoy every day that God has given you to the fullest, knowing that today is what you're given. Tomorrow is for God. No one knows what tomorrow comes with. So enjoy when you can. But in the process of enjoying, don't lose yourself, don't lose your dignity, don't lose other people in it. Help where you can. I also learned how to cough without scaring other people. Imagine, in the past we would just cough randomly. But when COVID struck, we learned how to cough. We started appreciating the use of handkerchiefs. And when we felt like coughing, we would cover our mouth. And we coughed with respect and dignity. We coughed caring about other people. Sometimes we would just cough on our arm like this. Or we sneezed. It was safer to do so that you don't scare other people or you don't pass the flu you had to other people. We learned a lot. It was fun. It was during this time that we learned to love our parents even more. When the news kept on saying that COVID-19 would spare you as a youth, but it would harass or take away the life of your adults or of the adult people. These were our parents, our grandparents. It felt painful. It felt so sad because we prayed for our parents not to contract this COVID, because when they contracted it, it affected them even more than the young generation. So each and every day we called them to ask them, Dad, how are you doing? How is Mom? I hope you're good. After a short while, again, you pick your phone and say, Dad, are you guys okay? Are you guys doing well? Because we felt the need to love the older generation even more. We called our grandparents, we called the older people. We just wanted to know how their life were doing, because we felt this disease was basically to harm them more than the young generation. So parental love grew and increased. Appreciate God when you still have your own. Another reason, and maybe the last one for this video, is expect the unexpected. Yes, it's very important to live this life expecting anything can come, anything can happen, be it death, be it sickness, be it what. No one knew COVID-19 was gonna be here with us, but today it was here with us, and it is still here with us, and we've learned to live with it in our society. So sometimes in life, live life expecting that anything can happen, and when it happens, it doesn't come to you as a surprise. So these are 20 lessons that we learned during the year 2020 and 2021 when the pandemic was here with us. Guys, I believe this video is long and I believe you've learned something. Maybe the lessons that I've shared with you are not your lessons. You could be having other lessons. Share them with us in the comment section so that we can also learn something that you learned during the pandemic period. And until next time, always work hard and be nice to people. And I want you to remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, is impossible. This is Devance Empire. End of discussion.